Which doll is the black doll?
So, and
Which
which one is the
doll
white doll?
is the black doll? Which doll
So,
is the pretty doll? Which doll is the nice doll? Which doll is the bad doll? Which doll is the nice doll? And which doll is the bad doll? And why is that doll pretty?
Because she's white and she has two eyes.
Which doll is the ugly doll? Why is that doll ugly?
Because he because he's black.
Which doll looks most like you?
Like me?
Yeah, which one looks like you?
degrees and different characters. The white system does not produce one black character. It produces a set of characters.
For example?
And it produces characters that serve different functions. And those characters will have some relationship to their geographical background, the historical experience, and to other kinds of things that go on in the world.
You said a system creates characters. So
Oh, yes.
What do you mean? Give me an example of what you mean.
It will create, if it needs, for instance, a certain number of blacks to indicate to the world that it is liberal, it will create a small middle class that gives it the image of being a liberal country. For instance, I'm talking about the United States now.
Okay.
And these people then will be used to try to deceive other black people into thinking that their lack of achievement is a result of some individual deficiency in their personality.
Mm-hmm.
It
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another live broadcast on the forecast. Um, we got Cassidra follow. There goes. So we got Cassidra back in the building as always. What's going on, Cassidra? Um, and then we also got Heidi in the building. How you doing, Heidi?
Doing well, doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How you doing this week?
Doing good. Can't complain.
That's good. I'm glad you came back on here with us this week. It was definitely a good uh it was good last week. You
Thank
there,
you.
Cassandra? Okay, so she said her computer is messing up.
Oh no.
Okay, so she might gotta I can't I see she sent me, but I can't really check the messages right now because I'm using my phone. All right.
Gotcha.
So she gonna go off and then she gonna come back on. So while we waiting for her, was that your first live last week, Hottie?
It was.
It was. How was it
It
for you? What you think about it?
so it was definitely after everything, it was definitely refreshing. Um, for me, because that was one of an accomplishment that I had, to be able to spread knowledge and stuff. So for me, it opened up a bigger door of healing, so to say.
Yeah, that's good. And that's what we trying to do. Like that's the whole purpose of the creating legacies kind of series that we trying to do, to talk about the things that's difficult to talk about. And like today we're going to talk about a lot of unspoken conversations that happen within our communities,
Yes,
a lot of trauma that gets swept under the rug. And so
absolutely.
I'm glad you ladies are here. All right, so all right, give me 1 second. I gotta send Cassidra another link so she can come back on here.
No problem.
All right. Oh, matter of fact, okay. So, and while we doing that, I'm not sure if you have anything to say or whatever about, what the topic, right?
Yes, we spoke about it
Yeah, so I don't know if you
Mostly
like
kind of.
have any like thoughts before we really get into it while I send this link.
I would say really just being open-minded. Being open-minded to listen to things and take things in and um just be able to be take it in kind of with an open heart. Because a lot of people hear things and they'll be like, "Oh, it could never be me." And the tables turn. So, for anybody that is listening, I just say, listen to the experience and apply it. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so you good now, Cassandra? I'm not sure if she can hear it.
Excuse me.
You on mute if you speaking, Cassandra. Okay, you there? I'm not sure what's going
It
on.
probably doesn't want us to be great on this lovely Wednesday.
Yeah, I know. I've been having computer problems for like the last like 5 months, and now it's like I don't know what's going on. What up, Cassandra? You there? Okay. Y'all forgive us for all these technical difficulties. I don't think her mic is working.
I think it dropped her too again.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. So, yeah, she was actually gonna just get on her phone. All right, because I'm trying, because I want to wait till she get on here, so
For
we don't
sure.
start without her. All right, so I gave her the link one more time, and she should be right back.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right, so there you go. But anyway, so within our communities and stuff like that, right? We one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this because I feel like family and like the basics, us being able to communicate and to interact with each other in a healthy manner, right? Even like just us in the dating world, because that becomes families. And then the traumas that we have and all of these dysfunctional things within our family, it don't come out of nowhere. So, what's going on, consider you there?
Man, this must gonna be an amazing show because I'm telling you, I couldn't even get on my computer. I don't know what's going on. But Heidi, it's all yours, girl. This gonna be an
Hey,
amazing show.
hey, how are you guys?
Oh my God, I'm good. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
This week is a week that I have not been sleeping. I've just been full of energy for some reason. So,
Oh my goodness. This show, I'm telling you, forecast, this is going to be an amazing show. I don't care what nobody say. I have not had ever had this many problems getting on a show. Ever. Ever. I swear. I couldn't even get on my computer, but at some point I may switch it over. When I'm gonna let it rest and I'm gonna let it whatever it's gonna do, I'm gonna let it do it. But you guys
Yeah.
go ahead on with the show.
All right. So, what we're gonna do? I'm gonna just pull up a couple of things that we need to talk about, right? Because,
right.
consider you said you wanted to talk about like them separating our families and stuff like that, but also the abuse that goes on within our with our children and
Yes,
all the stuff that our children see.
yes.
And of course, this is not on purpose. So I'm trying to decide where should we go first.
Why don't we
Hmm.
introduce Heidi again? Let's introduce her and let them know. Let's hear, a little bit about what she's gone through, and then we can still do that also. We just want to introduce our guest too.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Heidi.
All right, so I was on here last week, everyone. It's definitely a pleasure to be back on here. My name is Heidi. I'm a 31-year-old domestic violence survivor. Just hoping to, spur some knowledge and some experience that hopefully some people could apply. Last week we talked about domestic violence, how it starts, the triggers. And then I think this week we're talking a little bit about the separation and what you go through that people don't see. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, let's just go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna show y'all a quick couple of videos here. Well, not couple, but you know what I'm saying. And y'all can jump in anytime y'all want to.
For sure.
All right, so I'm just playing like a minute from these ones there.
The most severe consequence of slavery was the separation of families, which led to mental health problems.
We read the book The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass and watched the documentary 13th, and we learned a lot about slavery and how it affects us today.
I will be telling you how slavery settled. Douglass did not have a lot of memory.
All right, I'm playing that whole thing, but that's just to give you the background, like where this don't just come out of nowhere, right? So that's the first thing you got to understand is like we have been taught to hate ourselves and blame ourselves, but it is our responsibility to educate ourselves and pull ourselves up, as they say, by our bootstraps. So, and then of
Mm-hmm.
course this.
Raise your hand if you're married. None of you are married. Raise your hand if you would like to be married to your baby's father. One. The rest of you who don't plan to get married, why don't you plan to get married? I'd like to know that.
You already have your child to think about, and then a whole family to care for. It's a lot of responsibility, and then you don't want the commitments.
I wouldn't want no man holding me down because I think I can make it as a single parent.
But don't you think you might need help in raising that baby from a man?
Not really. I didn't have a father. My father wasn't in the home, so it really male figures are not substantially important in the family.
All right, so what y'all think about that?
I think that's super common. It happens in today's world. We see a lot of babies and kids out of wedlock, and we see that it's normal to not really be raised in a two-parent household these days.
But let's think about where it all came from, because we know that's not normal, right? When did it start, and where did it come from? Because we used to be married, we had families, and this was in the 70s, before you guys. I remember it. We had families, and then all of a sudden they saw that where we were surviving, and we were thriving, and we were happy, and we was doing good. And then they said, "Hold on, we can't let these folk come up over us." They always have to set up something that's going to distract and destroy our families. And they've been doing it ever since the 70s. When they put drugs in our neighborhood, they took the jobs from the men, then they dropped the drugs in our neighborhood, then they start sending the men to jail, then they offered the EBT, and then the women took it, and the men that was still in the house that wasn't on drugs, that wasn't in jail, then they had to separate from the families. But they didn't do anybody else like that, because other cultures can come here, the Chinese, all in any other culture that I've ever seen, even in the projects, they have their whole families. And I'm like, wow, you guys can live together. And I'm asking, I'm nosy. I want to know, hey, how you get to have your man living in your house and we couldn't, But we didn't know that because we never asked questions. But I saw it. And I said, how was that possible? And they were married, living in the projects together. But black folk had to separate. And we know why this started. And it's getting worse every day. Every year it gets worse and worse. Because this is what happens also when you allow other people to educate your children. Then they begin to tell you how nothing you are and how great they are. So this is all done on purpose. Look at these schools. It's done on purpose. But we have to get to the point where we counteracting it. We have to get to the point where we're tearing that stuff down. All those old beliefs. This is so sad. This is sad because that baby needs both parents, the dad and the mom. We as women can't teach boys how to be boys. We can't teach them how to be men. I can't even teach a boy how to pee. What I'm gonna do? Stand up and do what? You understand what I'm saying? But this is the norm here. But this is not normal. It's not. We've made it normal. We've made their dysfunction, the way they've treated us, we've made it our norm.
Yeah.
And I rest with that.
No, absolutely. And Heidi, and the thing about me, right? I'm like big on like history and stuff like that, right? So um I generally start with all this stuff talking about like the historical aspect of it. So um and consider we got to talk about like that Mordenham report and all that stuff. But a lot of this is where a lot of trauma and stuff was born because before this time, I'm not saying that it wasn't trauma, that it wasn't abuse, that it wasn't all of these things, but our families were generally connected and were strong, and our communities were a lot more stronger.
Yes,
And
yes,
the thing
yes.
is, they went out of the way to make sure of that. And that's why, like, we look around today and look at the dating scene and, like, well, why don't we know how to treat each other? Because we didn't have that role model. You know what I'm saying? They
Right.
intentionally, they have think tanks
Yes.
to make sure, like, going back to the 1600s, they had laws specifically against black women, to make sure that black men or anybody wouldn't marry black women. They would have to pay extra taxes and all type of stuff, all kind of laws to make sure you don't marry black women, because that is the number one thing, because they realize a healthy man and a healthy woman coming together to make a child. Now that child has the ability to create whatever life they want if both of their parents are healthy enough. So
Exactly.
um I don't know if you want to say something, Heidi.
Oh, I'm taking in what you guys are saying. I agree though, because even with the role model comment, and being in the dating scene, yeah, we might be single moms. For example, like me, I'm a single mom. So, whoever I'm dating, are you going to be a role model? Because at the end of the day, my kids are looking at whoever I'm bringing around.
Hmm. Absolutely. And then even with you being that single mom, you have to be very careful who you bringing around your kids. Because guess what? Some of these
Exactly.
men now, some of them waiting. They're predators. Some of them will
Mm-hmm.
date you to get to your kids because they know that you being a single mom and you have to work. And what happens that one day when you can't find that babysitter all of a sudden can't make it today, which it'll happen. They're waiting on that opportunity. So you have to be very careful
Mm-hmm.
who single women are bringing into their lives around their children because you won't even know that they're a pedophile until that
Yeah.
day. You know what I'm saying? Because you be looking like, well, where did that come from? I didn't see it, and you didn't, and you wouldn't. But your child saw it
Yep.
because when you went to the bathroom and he was still there, you know what I'm saying? Just that quick, he's grooming. Just that
Yep.
quick. And we don't even think about it. And then babies trying to say, mommy, trying to tell you, but don't know how to tell you. Because
Mm-hmm.
the threats and she didn't heard the threat, whatever. But we have to be so careful and to listen to our children and ask them questions. That person not around. Hey, how you feel around James? How you feel around him? Do you feel comfortable? Does he make Does he look at you funny, or do you feel weird around him? When I'm out of the room or when I'm in the next room, do you feel comfortable around? You got to ask those questions. Women are asking those questions because those kids will tell them. And sometimes they don't even want to hear it because I better not ask them in front of James because little Sarah, she gonna tell it, or little Cedric, he gonna
Mm-hmm.
tell it. But we don't ask because we really don't want to know because we want that man.
Right. And I think it's important to normalize.
Mm-hmm.
sitting down with our kids and asking them these questions. Like my daughter, for example, my youngest one, she's 10. I've had multiple conversations like if I do walk outside for a second, or if I do this, like, hey, how do you feel about this person? Has this person talked to you funny? How about
Mm-hmm.
this? How about that? How do
Mm-hmm.
you feel? Because it's important. They have
Yeah.
feelings too, and they want to articulate certain things that
Yeah.
sometimes they don't want to articulate because it's like, hey, I'm a child. If I say this, I'm going to get in trouble. But I
Mm-hmm.
think we need to be able to say it's okay for our child to speak their
Yeah.
mind. It's not
Yeah.
what you're saying, it's just in the tone that you have to say it. Like I tell my daughter all the time, if you want to have a conversation about something and you want to be open, let's do that. Let's
Yeah.
talk about it. There's just a tone of voice that you have to talk to your parent in. So as long as
Yeah.
you're respectful, let's have this conversation.
Yeah.
And how
Absolutely.
I was gonna ask you too, and I wish it was like a single father because I would ask them too. But as far as like dating now with like when you have children and stuff like that, like I don't know, like how is that for you? Is it like what like kind of the idea of what it's like?
So I did tell you guys I am in the dating world um as of now. So it's crazy how quick tables turn. Because like I was mentioning in the beginning of the podcast today, I said last week was really refreshing for me. And um it opened up new windows for me and stuff, right? So as of today, I'm actually no longer like actively dating the person that I was talking to. And that's just on a boundary setting. Because if
Wow.
I am dating you, and you have already met my child and my child is getting attached to you, we have to set certain boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and communication is a problem for me, right? So we spoke about that last week. So communication and being around, like you have to be consistent because I am bringing you around my child. I am a single mom. I do live in a state where I have no family. So understand that my child is a package deal. You want to go on a date? She's coming with us. Bring your kids too. Um, so in regards to that, like it's just very important to get your kids' input in that. Like the person I was talking to, my daughter loves him. They have a good connection. Even their kids, his kids, my daughter, they get along perfectly well, right? But now I have to put in a boundary. Well, I haven't spoken to you since Saturday. Today is Wednesday. That's not healthy because then I'm
Yeah.
showing my daughter that it's okay for a man to be inconsistent in your life. Because my daughter will say, "Oh, hey, when is so and so coming over? Is he coming over today?" Even my daughter in Florida, she's 14 years old. She called me today. She's like, "Oh, is so and so there? Well, when is he coming over?" And I had to say, "I don't know." And I kind of got bothered about it. But because I'm this role model for my daughter and she does see that I'm back in that dating world and she sees the inconsistencies, I have to show her that that's not okay.
Uh-huh.
And you have
Uh-huh.
to set that boundary. And it is my fault because in the beginning we didn't set any boundaries. It was what it was, right? And we have to be open to that too. Where did you mess up in the beginning that's leading you to it being okay for you not to talk to me for 5 to 6 days?
Well, let me ask you a question. How long did you date him before you allowed him to come around your children?
So this is somebody that I've been talking to since last November, and it's casually dating, come here, there. So consistently, I would say we started talking again in April. No, in March. We started talking again in March. So there's March, April, May where you were super consistent. March, April, May, June where you were super consistent, and then July, boom, we went to go pick up my daughter. So I've known this person for almost a year now, right? And even in the months where you think that you could know enough about somebody, you don't.
Mm.
Because
Right.
there's more underlying issues um and why a man distance himself or whatever it is that he's choosing to do. I don't know if you feel where I'm coming from, forecast, but it's
Uh-huh.
like there's a reason why the man is distancing himself for some reason. You may have some trauma, you may have some bonding issues. I don't know what it is, but there's something, and if you can't talk about it, then that's an issue, right? So
So
I
let me
think
ask
Well,
you a question.
Go
Was
ahead.
he okay? Was he okay until you got your daughter? And then once he got your daughter, he disappeared? Is that what it was?
No, so this has been a pattern. It was a pattern
Oh,
at first, and then we came over, and that's why we stopped talking, and then we started talking again in March, and then we
okay.
became better and we became consistent, and it has been pretty consistent, except for now we came in a period to where you starting to do the same thing that you were doing before March,
Okay.
right?
Well, okay.
Well,
Well, I think once a person show you who they are, you have to accept him for what he's showing you.
Exactly. And it not gonna lie, with what I've been through, it was a minute for me. Like I see it sometimes, with what I've been through, with my trauma, with my triggers, with the red flags that I'm able to notice for myself. I had to take a step back. To be honest, the entire time I knew what it was that I had to do, but part of me wants to take a step back and be like, I'm gonna give him a chance. I'm gonna give him a chance. You can't expect things to change overnight, because I can communicate to you that I don't like something and how I would like for you to move forward with it, right? I can't
Mhm.
expect you to change that overnight, but I can expect to see some change. Now I'm not getting that change, right? We're going back to that same pattern, and that takes me back to when your DV starts with your abuser, with that narcissist. You keep
Mm,
saying like, "Hey, I'm gonna give him this chance. This is not him. I know he
mm,
can do better. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna give him another chance. No, it's okay. He's really not like this. This is the things that go through in your mind, and you keep letting this person do the same thing over and over and over again until it becomes a norm. And
yes.
then you push it
Wow.
off to the side and it no longer matters.
Wow. Yes. I got you.
yeah. And I'll say this to what you were saying, and then before we go to the next thing, right? Now, I have been guilty of something like that, even with the last part, who was a great woman, and yeah, I would say like for me, it's not necessarily somebody else or anything like that. Of course, it was like a whole situation, but I guess speaking for me, coming from like what was in my head, it's like I have my own issues that I need to work out as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I also have to get better at, um, being able to have my like being like you could be by yourself and be happy alone. You know what I'm saying? Not
Right.
necessarily that you don't want to be with somebody, but being happy alone and being learning how to be in your own space, and to the issues that I'm dealing with, like instead of acting on it or doing something dumb, it's like, why am I thinking this? And then okay, well
Mhm.
maybe this issue is what's going on. So I try to use my time to actively heal whatever, and that's just me now, but the answer for me like when I'm in my 20s was totally different. So you gotta trust your instincts at the same time, because your instincts is true, not the trauma and the negative thoughts over and over, but your instincts. Like when you be like, yo, I knew I should have did X, Y, and Z. And the
Mhm.
longer that you take to do something, the harder it will be to do, and the more it's probably going to hurt you. But
Yeah.
I will say it depends on your boundaries and what you want and where you are in life, because
Right.
this person could be trying to heal some mother issue he had when he was young, and he realized like, I'm in this situation where I got to grow up now. And it's like, what level of patience do you have? But it could be a dude who like just play games or something, or has a unhealthy thing, or backs off when he gets too close. You gotta know the person who you dealing with.
Yeah.
So a lot of that's what I would say.
Exactly. And you kind of
And,
learn people's patterns too.
mhm, mhm.
So it's like, is
Right.
this something you're going to continue to put up with? Is this something that you're okay with? Are you okay with it? Because if you're truly okay with it, then cool, right? Um, But back to me, right? It's a certain point of time where I kept giving it that it's okay, he's gonna come around. I told him what I don't like. All I'm asking for is simple communication. I'm not asking you to text me or call me as soon as I text or call you. I'm just asking to have some communication. That's not a hard ask to ask from somebody. So the fact that you're not able to give that to me on a consistent basis, I'm gonna prevent myself from getting my feelings hurt. I'm gonna prevent myself from hurting your feelings because I know when my feelings get hurt, I tend to hurt other people's feelings. And that's coming from, still healing from the DV because I'm not 100% healed yet. And I think people need to know that too. When you go through this, depending on how traumatic it was, you're not
Yeah.
going to heal. So you're not going to heal out of nothing. You're going
Yeah.
to have those flashbacks. You're gonna have those times of resentment. Even going back to separating families, I did get my kids taken away for over 3 years because of the domestic violence. Um, and you could say every day, most sometimes I used to wake up mad, angry, not only at me, but at the person who was involved in getting my kids taken away too. Like I'm angry, like I allowed you to do this because I stayed.
Uh-huh.
And those are
Hmm.
triggers. And people don't talk about that either.
Right. And it's also like communicating and stuff like that. Like if you told this person like, all right, and you feel like they're not gonna, I can understand that. Me being a dude, I'm gonna be like, come on, like, give me one more chance. You know what I'm saying? But at the end
Oh,
of the
he's coming
day,
back. Trust me, he's coming back. Trust and believe that he will be back. He just wants to make sure that you serious about your boundaries. Okay, so you got to be ready for him to reappear again and apologize and do the same thing, and same thing he's been doing because nothing's changed. He's still the same person. He just don't hide it a little bit longer next time because he wants to get your heart. Once he
Mhm.
gets that heart, then he's gonna do the same thing he's been doing. He's not ready for a relationship, and he's showing you. But it's
Right.
up to you to receive it and accept it or not.
Right. And then you also want to be careful, right, of little comments that are made. Some people ignore the comments that are made. And then when you look at it down the line, you're like, oh, I should have knew that by what he said.
Oh yeah, yeah. You have to pay attention to what they're saying. Yeah, and
For
actions
ex-
too.
right. But see, here's the thing. A person can say something and their actions can be completely different. So
That's
for
why you.
example, go
Yes.
ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead. I hear you. Go ahead.
So for example, one thing that this person used to say is thanks for not being like them. In the back of my head, I'm like, okay, he's probably just talking about people that he used to be with in his past, blah, 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 blah. Right? So there's that. And then there's the like, okay, well, he must be talking to like other people or people must be tripping on him and he really out here like that, who knows? And then you got the part where it's you come to my house, you take the trash out, you vacuum, you clean, you do this, you do that. Most men aren't giving their energy like that to certain women, right? So then it's like you say this and you told my best friend that you're not looking for a relationship, but you're showing me otherwise. But you don't know that my best friend told me what you said. So what are we really doing?
Right.
Right? So we got to pay attention to those signs too. Like so it makes it confusing. So it's like when you take a step back and look at it, it's like you're playing with my mind and you're playing with my
Yeah.
emotions.
Yeah. Is he doing it on purpose now?
Right. Are you doing it on purpose? These are signs, I swear to you. This is fresh in my mind, like it came to me today, because this is something that I've been contemplating the last 2 days and whether I'm going to tell this man to come get your stuff and give me my key. Because when you take a step back and you realize stuff, is like, is this how I wanted to continue? Because this is the president that I have already set.
Yeah.
And for the last 2 days, it's been fresh on my mind. These are signs of a narcissist. And I just
Yes.
realized it less than 15 minutes ago. And
Oh
these
my
are how
God.
thoughts come to you, right? This is how thoughts come to you. These are signs of a narcissist. And I just had to tell myself and teach myself that, hey, I'm dealing with a narcissist.
Yes.
That's
Oh
how
my
it
God.
starts.
Yes. Yes.
yeah. And I'll say
Signs
this,
right
and then we're
there. And
going.
I'm telling you, this was just like the vision for me. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, no, and I'll say this, right? And then we'll keep going, right? Because and that's what you gotta trust. You gotta trust your instincts. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, right? As a person who, and maybe it is true, like maybe like I still got more therapy or whatever. But as a person who has done some of this stuff, and knowing for me, sometimes I get in zones where either I'll get caught up in just looking up history stuff and like all sorts of stuff, and I'll just time fly by, right? And I've had women be like, "Well, look, like I still want to hear from you." You know what I'm saying? But um, it's not like you doing it on purpose. You know what I'm saying? But that's where I had to learn like to actually listen and to like learn and pay attention to, and it goes both ways though, you know what I'm saying? And this person has to be giving that effort to you. And that's what young men have to understand, because it's a whole different plight for a lot of young men, you know what I'm saying? But we looking at it from a place of dysfunction. And see me, I had my parents, but like when my parents were younger, like they would fight all the time. So I didn't realize like when I was in my 20s and younger, that was my way of relating to the women that I like. I would argue with them because I was imitating what I was doing with my parents. And
How
it
old were you when you saw that with your parents? How old were you?
like since I can remember, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, back in the day, like they would be fist fights, you know what I'm saying, between
Mhm.
not like beating somebody up, but
Mhm.
you know how it go.
Yeah. Okay.
But see, I didn't realize that was like trauma. Like, I was talking to the therapist. I was like, yeah, yeah, I saw that when I was young, but I didn't really have no bad experiences. He was like, yo, that is trauma. You know what I'm saying? That is a part
Mhm.
of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do want to relate and be close to people. But for a while, I had a thing where it was like, it was weird. It was like when I had somebody, like I kind of took it for granted or didn't really want it. But then when I didn't have it, I wanted it, and I didn't
Mhm.
understand where all of that was coming from. But still, even now, I'm making mistakes. If, as as you transition to being more healthier, you still have old tendencies that might pop up every now and then. But then also things that I don't know, like because like I said, I might be in a zone like for a long time, but you know, you have to realize it's not just you, when you're trying to build that a legacy, a dynasty or whatever. What's going
Yeah.
on, Rob? Y'all want to say anything else
Hey,
before we go to the
Raw.
next one?
Well, I just
Welcome.
want to give a shout out to Ra for coming on here. He actually does podcasting himself. Super big support system right there. So glad he came on.
All
Awesome.
right. Um, I play, and this a little bit what you was talking about, Cassandra.
Let's talk about it. Now
Because
we got to talk about
you
that.
you couldn't receive that federal assistance if you were married.
Come on now.
So 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 when they came to inspect your home, that man had to leave the house so that he wouldn't be caught at the house.
Yep.
That's how they did it to separate. It was a way of separating the black family.
It was a strategic tactic to separate our families and divide us as a
Yeah.
community because we too powerful together, baby.
And guess what? And I'm gonna leave it like this. And I want and my brother and sister, I want you to listen to me when I say this right now. Guess what, Aisha? They won. We
And I'll say this, right? It's not that they won, but they are
Right.
probably winning, but it ain't over or whatever. But
Not
we
over.
wonder.
I don't believe they won. I believe that until we understand how to combat what they've done, because some of us recognize it, just like when we're in relationships and we've been in abusive relationships, you begin to recognize the traumas once you're out of it and you've gone through therapy. And I believe that we as Black people or need therapy, we have to have that in order to recognize their trauma or when they try to pour trauma on us. Then you can block it. But until we get to that point where we're getting therapy, they're going to always win.
Yeah.
Because we have to start recognizing and not fooling ourselves and say, oh, these people, they're good. They're not all bad. Well, yeah, they are. The ones that I know, the ones that I see, the history that I see is telling me that they're all bad. But we're not teaching our children that. We're passing stuff down our children now that they're not all bad. But I just saw where this young man in Iowa went to a barn dance. And ain't no black folk going to no barn dances, right? And he got jumped and beat up by the snow people. But I guarantee you his mom told him
You gotta
they're
send
not
me that
all
one.
bad, son. Oh, I'm gonna send it to you. But they're not all bad, son. Well, why would you allow him to go by himself? So you have to understand that once they show you who they are, that's in a relationship or a friendship. Once they show you, and these people have shown us who they are, we keep getting it twisted. We keep getting this thing twisted and not really believing it because because some people told us, well, they're not all like that. Well, one person that not, but all the rest are. That's not, you can't put that one person in a group of people. That's just that one person, but make that one person mad and you're gonna get the same result that you've seen. So it's all together. It's life. You know what I'm saying? And I'm putting it all together because even in life, we see how they act. Even in the personal part of it, relationship, we see how, men act. It's all the same. It's no different. You guys understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'll say this, and I'm gonna show you one more thing and let you go in, Heidi, right? Um, and this is a part of what we're talking about too, though, with why we have a lot of the issues that we have. It don't come out of nowhere. Like a lot of times, right? The people doing these things, they have negative thoughts going in their head all the time. Like, I'm not worthy, I'm
Yeah.
not good enough. So you sit there and do stuff and sabotage it. I'm not worthy
Yeah.
of love. I gotta go out. That's why young men and women go for the bad, quote unquote, bad ones who's not good for them, trying to seek validation outside of yourself. But we have literally been put in a society that breeds us to think this way. Like, to everything you see on TV, you're ugly, you're
Yeah.
bad, you're thugs, you're hoes, you're pimps, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're all of these
Yeah.
things. You go to the
Yeah.
school, all of the heroes is like, even though they're pedophiles, they're on the side of a mountain. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
really would mess with little girls. Everything
Boy,
is white,
please.
Facts. Facts.
You better
everything.
say it,
And
man. You better
so
say that thing.
you learning, like, what are you learning? To hate yourself because this quote unquote white supremacy can only be built off black inferiority. It don't mean nothing if black people don't feel inferior. So when
They
you're
already want
dating,
what we have.
yeah. But this is all of this stuff plays out when we dating each other, when we interacting with each other, when we saying, "Oh, let's build this business or corporation," and we like, "Oh, well, black people can't get together," because that's what we be trained to see. Like, all you see,
Yeah.
like, you might as well be like a white dude in Idaho, watching black people on TV. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's what you think we are, you know. And
Man, you better say that thing.
and then I'll play this too. So I'll
We have a parenting problem in our society. A lot of things, a lot of principles that younger kids nowadays don't have is because of how the home is set up, that there's no parenting anymore. The tablet, the internet, these things are what's raising kids.
Yeah.
And so many kids are in single parent households now that they're not learning certain things as like love and relationships and how mom treats dad and what it's supposed to be. There's only a selected few that upholds that. So that I think the focus should be there. One of the focuses should be there because being from the Caribbean, you're taught with your peers, a man is supposed to have enough women, and woman they glamorize they glamorize the wicked girl culture nowadays. What the Americans, what they call it, the
right. So it's no coincidence, right? Where they show you back in the day, it was the ancient mama, the maid,
Yes.
and today is just somebody twerking or something. They're not going to show you the black woman engineer, the young black man who created
Mhm.
gas or whatever. They're gonna show you the
Exactly.
dude in the hood with, like, you know what I'm saying, like, what's up, shouty? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
But you know
They're gonna
what? And
show
that.
the worst side of us.
hmm
Yes.
And that's
But
why I
that's
like
on
what
purpose.
consider. I like what you're doing, consider with the realm and the bush thing, because you know what? That's a whole army behind cages. You know what I'm saying? If they could ever learn to point the weapons in the right direction, we could get
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
What was you gonna say?
I forgot. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, you know what? This is what I was gonna say. But do we really know how to love, forecast? Do we really know how to love? I heard the dude was saying, loving each other and blah blah blah. I don't even think we know how. We never saw it. We never got it. Our ancestors didn't see love. Where'd they see it? In Africa? But how long ago was that? And then when they came here, you were slaves and you would
Mhm.
beat the hell out of. So do we really know what love is? Do we really? No, we don't, because in our DNA is trauma. And you'll go through a relationship and you'll go through some stuff and you'll be like, why is it like that? You don't even know where it came from, but it came from your great 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 grandma that went through a horrible relationship with your granddaddy, great great granddaddy, that was knocking her upside the head because master told him to, or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? So we're not relating and we're not bringing this thing together to understand that, okay, what is love? How do I really show this man how do I really show him I love him? How do I
Well,
really show this woman? We don't know how to do that.
well, consider, the problem. We don't love ourselves. That's where it started at. You
Mhm.
Right.
have to learn how to love yourself to know how to love somebody else.
But how do you learn that, forecast? How? You're not going to learn it in these schools. How are you
Mm-mm.
going to learn that? You're not seeing it, because I remember, way back in the day, you had Big Mom. Big Mom was beating up everybody, honey. Big Mom was cussing folk out. Big Mom was bipolar, honey. Big Mama, one day you go over there, Big Mama
I
was
slammed
good.
my
The next
damn
day you
door.
go over there, Big you understand? So when do you learn it? And sometimes you were scared of Big Mama because you come in the house and you look and see, okay, let me see Big Mama first. Let me look, because if she loud and
See how
cussing
she
folk out, I ain't
feeling.
going in the house. Exactly. You was filling out Big Mama. So we learn to love not unconditionally. We
In the
learned
moment.
from afar. Yes, from afar. from afar. You have to check that situation out first. But that's the residue now. So now, growing up with Big Mama's dysfunction, we have the same dysfunction. Even with our relationships with our husband and our girlfriends, forecast, that's still dysfunction. How do you shake that
Exactly.
off? How
Because
do you
you
shake it off?
Well, the first step is to realize those thoughts that you having ain't even your thoughts. People
Right.
went out of their way to put these
Yeah.
thoughts in our heads on purpose because they realize how powerful we are. If we was to
Yeah.
control our own thoughts and realize we can create our own lives and
Yeah.
all the things that we can create, look what we created under this trauma. What do you
Yeah.
think we would create? But they do it on purpose. But we have to go 1,000 times harder to not
Yeah.
think that way about ourselves and start with yourself. I deserve to be treated right. I deserve somebody that treats me good because I am good. Start
Right.
just say that over and over in your head if you have to. It's the
Exactly.
simplest things. It's not trying to be the
Exactly.
complicated. It's like it works for us, you know what I'm saying? We it works.
Did you
But
recognizing it and on purpose changing that voice in your head where you hearing that voice is telling you you ain't this and you don't deserve this, is you writing that stuff down, you tearing it up, and you replacing it
Mhm.
with a positive thought. That's what it's
exactly.
that's what it, and it's you being conscious about those thoughts. That's not your thoughts. Those are somebody else's thoughts. That's somebody else that done told you you ain't this, that, the other. And you repeating it in your head. Now it's time for you to write that stuff down, tear it up, put it in the trash, and you replace it with a good thought. And you put that good thought up against that window, up against that mirror, on the ceiling of your bed, and on the wall when you first wake up. You got to on purpose heal yourself on
Yes.
purpose.
And consider, how black people be like, "Oh, I forgive you, I forgive you." Do you think if you loved yourself, that you would so easily forgive somebody who violated your boundaries, whether it's in relationships or whatever.
Exactly.
You gonna take the boundaries is for to protect yourself because you love yourself enough not to go through that BS. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Exactly. And some people will get mad because you don't. Now, I remember growing up, dating and stuff. Some guys would get mad because I choose not to date them because I knew they were abusive or I knew they were, not right. I choose to be by myself, because, I remember that way back we were in high school and, guy, he was dating this girl, right? And then, they broke up and then him and I started dating. But I remember the one time I saw him, he was over there with her. And this is what I said. I said, let me tell you something. I said, now we gonna have some boundaries now. I don't want to see you, and I began to put it out there. If I see you over there again, we're not gonna be doing this. I put it out there because I wanted him to know that I saw. Okay. And I wanted to put it out there that if I see it again, we're not doing this. And of course, saw it again, I was done. I'm not even gonna invest in that because I already knew he couldn't be faithful because he'd already shown me. But I gave him the heads up. Hold on now. I saw it. Let me let you know I saw it. But this is what we're not going to do. So I put it out there. But he thought, well, Cassie wasn't serious. Okay, let me show you how serious I am. And that's what we have to do. We have to be very conscious of those red flags. We have to, on purpose, see those red flags. If we ask in the universe or God or Most High, whoever you call him, Lord, show me this person's spirit. Show me this person. When he show you that person, you got to be ready for it. You got to be ready for it. And another part of that prayer is, okay, when you show it to me, let me be ready for it. And give me the strength to do what I need to do and walk away if that's what I need to do. You feel me? How that prayer came together? It wasn't just show me, it's give me the strength to do what I need to do when you show me.
And that's what I've been struggling with this week. Perfect topic.
Perfect. Now you got some answers. I told you this show was gonna be off the chain. I told you that. I already knew that. I said, this is gonna be something. This is some stuff people need to hear. People need to
Well,
hear this, but a lot of us ain't ready to hear this. They ain't ready for this. We usually have more people than this. They're not ready for this.
yeah. If we was
They're
talking
not
about
ready.
Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or some crazy stuff, they be on this joint or like
Talking
cussing each
about
other
life
out
issues.
or whatever.
Got time for that. We're trying to grow. We're trying to heal. That's what we're trying to do. That's why we do
Right.
these shows. We do these
Exactly.
shows so we can heal and be conscious of what's going on in our community so that we'll know how to
Mm-hmm.
deal with it. So when we see it coming, we'll be, we didn't talk about this. This is what we need to do. And this is why we in the predicament we in now. Because we want to deal with the traumas. We want to go to where Tarika, we want to see the twerking. We don't want to see the fighting and the beating up and the cussing each other. That's what we want to see. We love stuff like that. But when we get down and dirty in the dirt and start really understanding who we are and how do we get through some of this stuff, we ain't ready for that. That's too much. Emotional stuff, that's too much. We're not ready for that.
Yeah.
But it's time to
And
get ready for it because this is what we're going to talk about. We need to, these are great conversations we need to have to heal.
yeah. And you want to say something, Heidi? Because it's like two more things, and it's gonna get even deeper now from here. You want to say
Let's
something
go.
first, though, Heidi?
No, I'm good so far on this. But I definitely do agree with everything Cassidra said because it's definitely something I'm walking in right now. And I do believe that man, it's just deep. I can say that for sure. I'm still kind of breaking that part all down in my head. That's why I'm not gonna comment on it right now. But very true.
Yeah. So I want to hear about this part of what you're saying because consider you brought it up a little bit with Big Mama and them.
Mhm.
Um,
Do I think that Black folks whip their kids? Absolutely. I am definitely not a gentle parenting person when I have kids. I'm definitely into whipping ass and discipline, but not to the level where it's like I'm bullying you and I'm telling you with the belt standing over you, asking, who did it and who's going to tell me and what does that look like? That wasn't a disciplinary moment to me. That was more of a father who was attempting to bully his kids. And I don't know, I guess, show the world that this is what fathering or daddying looks like.
There's also a video from an African family.
Do I think
and let me play one more too.
a religion that, in the Black community, ass whipping was a religion at some point.
For sure.
And folks have different ideas of how helpful that was.
And if you don't spank, you are spoiling the child.
Oh, absolutely. Because that's what's wrong with Generation Alpha, right?
Right.
All these kids, they're not getting enough ass whoopings. The thing I tell people all the time when they think that is, when you did get a whipping, who was the whipping for? Was it for you to have changed behavior, or was it for them? And if you don't know the answer, or if the answer was it was for you, how could you tell the difference between you getting your ass whooped because you did something bad versus you getting your ass whooped because your dad was made to feel small in society that day, and you're the smallest, weakest?
Now consider, before you go in, right, I'm gonna say this, right? I did get beatings. That's what we call them, whippings, I guess, And at a point, I got old enough to like catch the belt and all this other stuff. I never had to go get no switch or whatever. But my dad only put his hands on me one time, and that was because I earned it. Sometimes young boys need somebody to be like, yo, who do you think you talking to right now? You know what I'm saying? You better chill. Sometimes you need somebody to grab you by the collar. Now I would say this, just about every time I did deserve whatever I did. How do you know the difference? Like when I got caught skipping school, I know I did something wrong. So like if I got beef for that, it is what it is. Now I get it. It's a thin line. But I also know some parents who would say they was too easy on their children, and now they kind of got lost in the streets. You know what I'm saying? And they wish they was more harsh, but they was only easy because their parents were those old school parents who would beat you for everything. Sometimes it is people that go through some stuff because their parent is like angry. That's abuse, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's a thin line. And I don't know what y'all think. So y'all go in.
Well, I definitely agree with that. I'm right there with you. I received whoopings probably my whole childhood, and it's not definitely not because my parents had bad days. I deserved every single one of them. I was one of those. My parents, like I said before, are pastors. And I was the youngest, so the youngest are the terrible ones. But I deserved every single whooping. Did it make me better? No, because I still had that temptation of wanting to do what I wanted. But I do think it's important to, at some extent, like if you really deserve a whooping, you're gonna get it. So but today's society, they make it to where, hey, you can't whoop your kid, you're not allowed to, that's abuse, whether you're using it for discipline or you're really abusing your child.
Yeah, what you think,
Let me
Cassandra?
tell you something, honey. Let me just say, I believe in spanking that ass. I'm sorry, I did it with my girls, and guess what? But it's a way to do it. You're not leaving marks. You're not cussing them out. You're not calling them bitches. It's a way to do it. You're doing it lovingly. But guess what? When they needed it, they got it. But guess what? I loved on them afterwards. So it's a way to do it. It's a way. But you're not beating them. You're not leaving marks. You're not abusing them. You're not calling them names, and you're not flinging them around on the floor. You're not kicking them. It's a way to do it. You're gonna love them through it, because I believe, and I had one daughter, honey. She got whooping every day. But guess what? Her and I just as close, because guess what? I did what I need to do. Then okay, now let's talk. Let's sit down. Let's have a conversation. Why did you just get? Why did you get that whooping? Why do you have to get whooped? What was going on? We talked, because this is what I need you to understand. Because if you talk to me like that again, you may not get up next time. You know what I'm saying? Or if you go slam that room door, you may not have a door next time. We talked about it. I didn't just beat their ass and not talk. We talked. Let me show you why. Let me help you to understand what we're not gonna do, because universe beat us. When we do what we when we get in trouble with God, don't he spank your butt? Okay, I don't know if y'all believe in God, but
So
I do.
do.
But when I don't do what I'm supposed to do, oh, you're gonna get that whooping. Sure is, whether you believe or not. It's called karma. You understand? So you'll get it eventually. But I wanted to talk my daughters through it. It's not about me bullying them. I'm disciplining. I'm the parent. You're not gonna run nothing up in here, and ain't no society gonna tell me what I can and can't do to my daughters. And they would have some, these little white folk come around. They call themselves playing with them, right? And little white girl said, "Well, you could call the police on your mom like that, right?" My daughter looked at her and said, "Who? You can call the police on yours? Can't call. They got to get to me because we lived in a gated community, right, in Virginia, right?" And my
They
daughter
always
told
say
her,
they gotta get here first.
she was trying to teach her, right? The white girl was sitting up, you can't tell my daughter, honey, you can't run this up in here. And then when I heard her talking, I said, let me tell you something. They tell me what to do up in my house. I pay bills up in here. Can't no judge tell me what to do. Can't no society tell me what to do. They kids shooting up schools. How in the hell you gonna tell me how to parent? Your kids shooting up schools. Your kids killing the dog. Your kids killing the cat. You murdering the whole family, but you want to come over here and tell me how to parent. That ain't happening not over here.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing.
Yeah, and
But,
it's
but
it's
like I said, it's the way you doing this. You're gonna love them through it. You're gonna spank, then give them a few minutes, give yourself a few minutes, and then we're gonna have a conversation. Cause I love my babies. I love my teller. And sometimes, hey, and don't let me be wrong. Like, yeah, I was wrong sometimes. But guess what? I wasn't too big to apologize. You know what, honey? I saw your sister did that. I do apologize. Because the other one didn't tell it, right?
Say that again, Cassidra.
Oh
I'm just
yes.
saying. I'm just saying. I apologize to man. If I found out later that I was wrong, oh, I'm coming. I do apologize. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect, but I'm gonna tell you what. Next time you y'all better open your mouth before you get that whooping. But I apologize because I wanted them to understand that I'm not perfect. Parenting is y'all didn't come with books. I'm doing this thing. I'm walking through it. I'm walking through it, right? And if I make a mistake, I'm not too adult or I'm not too proud or not too. I'm still a parent, but I'm still apologize because I made a mistake, and I wanted them to know that I'm not perfect. Give me some mercy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I say that
that's
all the
what so
time.
many parents don't do that. They don't apologize when they know they're wrong. They just leave it in the air like that. No, I gotta love them. I gotta love on them a little bit. My babies, we're close. We talk every day, all day. Okay, whether they in the country, out the country, or whatever. But you have to build that relationship. You gotta discipline. That's what they need. They don't know. They're empty sponges. If you don't pour into them, and if you don't pour that love into them, if you don't pour that attention into them, if you don't pour, and I even got this book, relationship, the love language. I got that book because I wanted to be the best parent because I was a product of rape, so I didn't understand. My mom, she wasn't there, and a whole lot of stuff, right? But I wanted to make sure I did it better. I didn't want to do it the way my mom did it because it was not right. Because I was neglected. I was at a sitter's house. I would be at the sitters, and sitters don't know how to treat people. When your mom around, yes, but when your mom's not around, no, they didn't know how to treat you. But I wanted to do it better. I wanted to do it different you know. So I read on parenting. I read on the middle child. I read on just having to the baby and the oldest child. I read about all of it, boundaries and parenting and all of it. I read because I wanted it to be different. I didn't want to raise dysfunctional children. I didn't want, because I didn't have a mom and a dad that really cared like that. My mom was, you know how it is when you didn't been through a rape. Now here's that rapist baby. You got to look at me every day. That's hard. That's hard. And I understood that once I got grown. I didn't understand it then when I was young. But thank God I didn't even have to be here because she could have aborted me, But I
Yeah.
had to learn that. I had to give her mercy. I had to forgive her for some stuff. But we're not close even now today. Me and my mom still is not close. And we probably never will be. There's nothing we can do. I can't do anything about that, but I still give her that mercy and grace.
Yeah. And no,
Go
and
ahead.
I'll say this, because I got my door taken off when I got caught skipping school. They took my door off. But let me ask you this though, Heidi. Um, you got boys?
No, I got two girls.
Okay, okay. Well, that's a little
Mhm.
different because consider you mentioned that you like even their father would never put a hand on them.
Oh,
You know,
never. Mm-mm.
yeah. Because I
Mm-mm.
was
He
gonna
didn't
say
train them
like,
at all.
yeah.
He
What
didn't.
what do you
He didn't believe in spanking them. He didn't have to
Yeah.
either. All he had to do was say he said one word, and they, oh my God! I was like, why I can't get that? I got to beat the hell out of you. He just looked at him. He didn't have to spank. He was present. He didn't have to spank them. But that was his choice, because I remember he didn't even want me to spank. And then I was like, look, dude, you're gonna parent your way, and I'm gonna parent my way because I'm not gonna have unruly children that just don't know how to act, and they gonna be falling out. I needed order. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want them to just be, wild and I needed discipline. I needed order in my house. And I was old school. I was old school. We talked. I gave you a couple chances. When I got up, it was on. When I got up, it was on. But guess what? They're fine. And we talk about all that even now. They said, Mommy, you remember when? Yep, I remember that. But now we talk, but guess what? It's okay. It's okay. But you
But
still have to be that parent.
well, let me ask y'all this, right? So, and both of y'all, and how do so if you have boys though, right? Say a husband, I guess. Well, I don't know what point it would be. I would just say a husband. Would you let a man discipline your boys, and that's not his? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, it would. Uh, I think it would depend on. It would depend on what type of man he is and how he is approaching my
Right,
boys.
right,
Because one thing is, I always said I wanted a son. Like, if I want more kids, I have to go through surrogacy. But if I do have a son and I decide to do that on my own, like, whatever man is around, like, what type of man are you and how are you approaching my son? What is your tone? And are you doing it from a kind hearted place?
right.
Now, if I was with the child's father, or if I wasn't with the child's father, but the father was present in the child's life and I was with someone else, then understand that I'm not looking for someone to raise my child with me or for someone to play daddy. But support would be nice. But then again, how are you coming at my child?
No, I definitely feel you. Feel you. What you think, Cassandra?
Well, how, and I'm gonna tell you because their dad died and I did remarry. And I'm gonna tell you how I did it. We had an understanding. We talked, my girls were older. We talked about everything. And if I was around, then if it's something where they was risking their life, then oh yeah, he's gonna say something. But as far as hitting them, no, he was not allowed to spank my girl. Their dad didn't spank them. So no, I'm not going to allow another man to come in there and spank my girls. No, didn't do it. Didn't happen. We talked and we communicated and they had a dad, but he died. But still, they had that relationship with him. So no, it was an absolutely no for him to hit my daughters. You were not. If it was something he can say, but like you said, you need to say it in a way where it's respectful,
Absolutely.
and because guess what? You are showing them how a man is supposed to treat them later. So if you talking to them crazy, then they're gonna have other men talking to them crazy. You understand what I'm saying? And that was the point of why their dad never spanked them because he did not want them to think that it was okay for a man to beat on them. And that's what his point was when we talked about that. He said, I don't want my daughters to feel that it's okay for a man to beat on them. So that's why he didn't spank them. So for me to let another man come in and spank them, hell no. You're not, no, we're not rolling like that. If you saw something and you said something, that's cool. But it needed to be respectful because remember, you're teaching them how a man should talk to them. You understand? And if it was something where that could wait and him and I would talk, and then I would go in there and say, hey, what was going on with so and so, then I would bring it to him because I'm the parent, I'm their mom, then I will bring it to him. But I'm not saying he did not have an opportunity. To hit my daughters. No, their dad didn't whoop them.
Well, what if
So
it was a boy?
if it was a boy,
Hmm.
um, if it was a boy, I guess that's a little different. But still, it has to be respectful. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
Especially if he's older. If he's older and and his dad had died and they already had that relationship, he shouldn't have been having to come in the house spanking him anyway, because he would have already had that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That training. So if him, even with that, you can come to me and he can teach him. But as far as really putting his hands on him, no, I don't think I would have even let him do that, because if they're older, their dad would have already put that in them. So, and everybody parent different. And I don't know how his dad raised him. So I wouldn't let him come in there and abuse my son and be punching him in the chest. I've seen some men come in, I'm gonna teach him how to be a man. No, you're not gonna abuse. That's abuse. You're not gonna, no, we're not doing that. But you can conversate and teach him how to be a man through that conversation. Now, if he's bulking up, that's not gonna happen either, because that's why I'm there. Boy, what you doing? Then I can change chastise that. But I still don't think I would have allowed them to, I don't think it would have been a reason to, because if you got that foundation, then he would have been respectful to him, because I said so. And because I trained him to be respectful, and his dad trained him to be respectful. And if he respected his dad before he died, then I expect you to respect anybody that come up in this house. You're going to respect them too. You understand what I'm saying? So it's all in communication. It's all in communication, and everybody is functional, and we can communicate. But I still don't believe that I would have allowed another man to come in and beat on my son. No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
No, yeah, I can
No.
understand that.
Yeah. Especially if they're older. If they're 16 and 15 and 14, why does he need to come in and hit him? Why? Why? What are we
Very
doing here?
true.
That's
Right.
abuse to me. That's not your son, because his dad would have already put that in him. That respect, and the communication and how he's supposed to act, and he's respectful. Then I allow a man to come in. Now I got another can of worms. I just opened up another can of worms on
Right.
my son, right? So now I got some abuse going on. Now I got no. So we're not even gonna start that. No, you don't need to come in and hit on him. If you feel like you need to hit him, you need to leave, because you
Right.
got anger issues, and you're not gonna pour that into my child, because I'm mama's here. You're not gonna abuse mine, because I'm gonna take up for mine,
Yeah.
because he was here before you. You feel what I'm saying? And if you got an
Hmm.
issue with him, then we need to go in the room and talk, so I can, see why do you feel that that's disrespect? Especially, because men sometimes they do feel that they're, they sensitive. Okay, some are, because they were raised by their moms and they have a lot of sensitivity with them. So in case he felt that my son was being disrespectful, then that's when him and I need to talk. Will help me to understand why you felt that what he had to say was disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? So now
Right.
we're gonna communicate that way, but you still not gonna step to my son. No,
Oh, yeah.
that's not happening. No, that's abuse. You're not doing that.
Yeah. All right. So, we will go to the last thing, right? Now, I guess I saved this part because I guess it's the most traumatic, I guess.
Oh Lord,
But
forecast. You gonna make us mad. No.
no, no, it's still the same conversation. So,
I just want to talk about how family is iffy, because I just feel like it's just it's just the blind leading the blind. I just feel like family don't teach.
what up,
Family don't
Bakari?
talk about what needs to be talked about, because everything is so busy trying to be hid under the rug, kept a secret for an image.
Mm.
This is why now, like, the older generation have a thing against the younger generation, because they feel like the younger generations are rebelling, and they feel like the younger
You hear
generation is
that, Bakari?
rude.
Bakari got a
But
problem with
really,
me.
it's not. The way it might see, the truth always seems like disrespect. The
Oh
truth
wow.
always seems like bashing. The truth always seems like negative, like you being.
All right, and just to save time, like y'all kind of get the kind of just, but now this story here is like not what's up, like to say the least. So just to prepare y'all, it could be like triggering for some people, I guess.
My name is Princess Hill, and my story is going to be about overcoming childhood sexual abuse. I was sexually assaulted from the time I was 3 until I was 13. I was sexually assaulted from a family member. And then when I was about 6 or 7, that's when I met my sister's father. And my sister's father began to touch me. He began to perform oral sex on me and things like that. And then when I turned about 10 or 11 is when he took my virginity. At first, it was like a game because he was just spending the night over the house and then he started to live at the house. He came into my room. He was like, oh, let's play a game. So we started to play a game and he started to say that I was his girlfriend. And this is when I was about 7. So, and then when I was about 8 is when he started to perform oral sex on me. Then when I was about 10 or 11 is when he asked me if I was ready for him to basically take my virginity. He would say like, we're going to be together forever. At 11 years old, I just felt like it wasn't real love. I felt like I was just something for him to use or to just play around with. I was fearful of my environment. So being sexually assaulted as well pushed me to when I would run away. And when I was 13 years old, I ran away probably like my last time. And this is when my father came to pick me up. And my father knew that I was being abused by my sister's father. He said, okay, I'm going to go hurt him. I'm going to protect you. He put on this whole thing like I was going to be protected and safe. But that same night that he got me is the same night that he also molested me. What he did was he came into my room and he began to like pull my pants down. After he had sexual encounters with me, then he left me alone. And the next morning, like before the daylight came out, he came into my room again and he proceeded to touch me again. And when he touched me again, he stopped and he said he's really sorry. He said, well, I thought that you were lying. I thought that you were still a virgin. And then he said, I'm just going to take you back to your mother's house or whatever. I can't take care of you. And when I was in a car with him, he looked at me and he said, you do know that there are men who have children with their daughters. And he said, no one's ever going to love you the way that I will love you. And he said, when you get older, we can be together and I can love you the right way. And it just really made me a confused child even more. And I just always like didn't want to go to school. I hated being at school. So I would be truant. I wouldn't go. And then one day, one of the social workers noticed that I was not coming. Well, one of the counselors noticed, so they called the social worker. So the social worker pulled me into the classroom, well, into a private room. And she asked me, why am I missing school? And what is going on. And at that time, people in my family already knew I was being abused, but everybody would say like I was a problem child. I didn't think anybody cared or would believe me. So I said, well, I mean, I'll tell you, but I don't think that you'll believe me either. So I told her what was going on. And from that point, she just went like full like beast mode. She contacted the police. She contacted the family members. So at this time, I was 13. The social worker got the detectives involved.
All right, and I can't play it because it's 24 minutes, But just to say this, right? Because I've known multiple women that I've dated that had similar experiences, a woman that I used to talk to when she even and like I'll be real, like we was teenagers at the time, and our father was still doing it. And I should have did something, but I was like 15 at the time. It's like no excuse. But he would threaten to like hurt her sister or something, you know what I'm saying? She was like, yo, please don't. But like in her case, and when she told her mother actually did something about it. And like now this was a long time ago. The dude is dead now. But then, I also dated another woman, right? When she was 6 years old, like um her mother had died and she had to live with her aunt. Her father was away, like and with the army or whatever. And her aunt's boyfriend was messing with her. And she tried to tell her aunt, but her aunt didn't even believe her. And then say like it was two different experiences, and now the person that she became, and this is not to judge or whatever, but she became a woman that kind of likes to see men get hurt, you know what I'm saying? And it comes from the trauma that she experienced when she was younger, because this is like a common thing that happens way more than people like to talk about. So I don't know if either of y'all have something to say about it. You know.
I'm gonna tell you, everybody failed that baby right there. Everybody failed her. I remember in high school, it was a family, same thing. The man who was their dad touched every last one of them girls. And to have that to happen, and the mom is right there in the house, that mom need her ass beat. Seriously. He needs to die, and she needs to be abused. She needs to be beat down. Seriously. Something happened in that house to both of them. Dysfunction. Why on earth would a woman, or how on earth you as a woman could sit up here knowing that the man you sleeping next to is sleeping with your daughter? How could you as a woman allow that? That right there blows my mind. Okay. Because I remember being a child and going to different sitters' houses. And I remember that walking, and I think I've told this story before. I was a feeler of people, right? I could walk in a place and just feel people's spirits. I'm serious. I was a feeler, still is. And I knew that that was going to be a long night. And I remember saying to myself, this is going to be a long night. Didn't know why I said it, but I'm going to tell you, I used to sleep with night lights, right? Because I would have night terrors, right? Because of the gifts and stuff. And I remember that this one night in particular, I was asleep. Well, and I woke up, and I woke up to this man who the man that when I came in the sister's house was sitting laying on the couch, and I said, "This is gonna be a long night." I woke up to him standing over my bed, and I'll never ever forget this. And this is why I believe in God, and I know I know He exists because I've experienced so much of Him in my life, right? And I remember closing my eyes, and I said, "God, please don't let him touch me." I said that. I will never forget this. That dude turned around immediately and walked out that room. Now, if I didn't know the universe, God, Most High, whoever you call him, if I didn't know him, would things have been different? I don't know. But I've always had that relationship with him where, I've been saved as far as death from death. Things have happened where my life was right there going to be taken. And I'm telling you, I've gone through so many, and people would say weird situations, but to me, they're miracles. To me, they're miracles. And I remember it's so many times, when you have a mom and your mom lets anybody and everybody keep you, then you become your own protector. I've had a few stories where I could tell where nothing happened, but it was so close. And then I remember one time I went over to this lady's house and I told her, I said, told my mom, her son was trying to be near. Yeah, I'm probably 5 or 6, right? And of course he calls all the kids to the room, right? And I'm like, I'm not going in that room. So I stand outside the door. Why are you calling all the kids? I was smart. I'm telling you, I was not no dummy. And I'm like, I'm not going in that room. So he's everybody come to my room, right? I'm like, mm-mm. So I stayed outside the room, right? But he was trying, right? But I told my mom. And my mom, what she did? She made me go to that lady's house and she told the lady what I told her. And then left and went to work. So here I am, a 6-year-old, 7-year-old. Now I got to battle this woman because your son is nasty. And I told my mom, so now you coming at me. What did you tell your mom? And, and I'm just looking at her. What am I supposed to say? So my thing that taught me that day that I had to be my own protector. I had to protect myself. So then my mouth was everything. I began to, I was rebellious. I would talk, I would say anything. I hated my mom. I'm just saying, this is what I went through as a child. And I mean, it was put in so many situations where the same thing happened to her could have happened to me. But I'm telling you, Most High protected me. I'm telling you, I could tell you so many stories where I was protected. But I'm telling you, we have to begin to protect our babies. Seriously, we can't let them spend the night everywhere. And that made me the best parent ever, ever. My kids didn't spend the night because I know what I went through. My kids didn't go to spend the night over their friends' houses. No. They didn't, their friends came over. They didn't sleep in the same bed because I understood how people were. You don't know what kids are going through at night at their own house. So I had 2 beds, twin beds, okay? Even though my daughters they had a twin bed, or it was like a pull-out bed, right? And you slept in and you kept the doors open. But it was a certain way that I ran my house. I didn't let anybody and everybody hang around anybody and everybody. I was a protector. And I think I protected them too much. But my daughters, I can actually say, because I've asked them so many times. I used to talk to them about everything. Nothing goes. You know how that song where the lady say, "This is your body." No, remember that song? I mean, it went viral. I used to talk about that. I made it such a normal conversation with my daughters that if they did come and tell me something, that they wouldn't even know they was telling another person. Nothing goes in your mouth. Nothing goes. I used to talk. This is a song we used to sing because I know people and I needed to keep them safe and I needed to keep me out of jail. Because I'm telling you, when I had a sitter, I would go and interview her. And I would say, the way I bring them here is the way I need to pick them up. And if I interview her and it was a lot of traffic, you're not getting my child. I'm not leaving my daughter. Because I said, I'm coming. I'm not going to report it. If you did something to my child, I'm not reporting it. Just know that I'm coming. And every time I see you, I'm coming. And every time I see you, it's going to be you and I. Seriously. And I meant what I said. I was going to jail for that person because my daughters came here to sexually abuse or to abuse a child, period. Do you not know that breaks their spirit? You break a child's spirit. They are never, you can't put that back together. So for an adult to do that on purpose and you know that that's what happened to you and you portray it on another child and that's my child, oh, I'm coming. I'm going to jail for you. And this is how I will talk to different sitters. So if you feel like you have some issues, some underlying issues that I can't see today, you need to say, no, you can't keep my child because I'm not one of them parents that's going to forgive. Because I believe in retaliation. I believe in paying back as you do unto others, as you do unto mine. Seriously. So this is what kind of parent I was. I was hard. I was a protector. I was a mama bear. I was a lion. Okay. You talking about a lioness. I was a lion when it came to my daughter. And if I thought it was something, I'm coming. So I kept them with me a lot of times because I didn't want to go to jail because I was this Cassie you see now is not the Cassie I was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Not even close. I've calmed down a lot. But that Cassie right there, you'd have been dead. And I would have never reported it. So I had to keep my kids safe. I had to. But I'm just, that's just just horrible. But what was her mom? Where was her family? Her family let her down. Everybody around her knew it and they let her down. Nobody protected her. Why? What's going on with that mentality? Just like my dad. I never met him, but did I even want to? If he did that to my mom, did I really want to meet him to find out what kind of man he was? Not really, because I didn't need a rapist in my life. Because you touch my kids, you done. I didn't want that around my girls. I didn't want that around my kids. So why would I open that can of worms? I never wanted to meet him. Why do I want to meet a rapist? And I rest with that.
Yeah. You got any thoughts, Heidi?
No, not on this one.
Yeah.
I really haven't experienced that, so I can't really talk on that section as much.
Right. No, I understand. And like I said, I haven't been through it, but and not to keep going, we about to wrap it up. But of course, young boys too. It happens to young boys
Absolutely.
too, and
Absolutely.
I'm blessed that nothing like that ever happened to me. And luckily, nothing like that happened to my sister either. But the problem is, I know, like as a man, right? You have to realize too, when you're dating people, you don't know what kind of history they got, what kind of
Exactly.
mental issues they got, or if they just could be a sociopath or a psychopath or something, or if they take medication.
Mm-hmm.
But so
Mm-hmm.
much trauma happens in our communities
Yeah.
that when we date each other, we take it out on each other and we
Mm-hmm.
unknowingly seek it out. We seek out what we experience in our childhood until you heal yourself and
Mm-hmm.
consciously make a decision not to.
Yeah.
So that's why we have problems finding leaders in our community, and all we do is talk about the negative leaders. Well, why don't you just put focus on the ones who's doing it right, or do it yourself? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
But we
Right.
like to put focus on the negativity because
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're attracted to, but that doesn't come out of nowhere. But that's the importance of not the babies born tomorrow have a chance. They probably don't by now because it's like 10 something, so it's already too late for us to change. But the babies born tomorrow or the day after that have a chance if we can get it together. You know what I'm saying?
Right
But
now, right now. We have to get it
yeah,
together right now.
at
And
this
I'm gonna just,
second.
I'm gonna right this second, and I'm gonna tell you, the ones that know better, do better. The ones now, you start teaching yours. If everybody start teaching their family, we'll be fine. But if nobody ever starts, because we always try and we say, well, we do this and they gonna do this. It's not about them. It's about us putting things back on track, like having talks like this, like really putting attention on stuff that's in our community and holding us accountable. You know what I'm saying? And putting a light on our families, on stuff, okay, being held accountable. We not like them. They don't hold themselves accountable for nothing. They do what they do, and everybody will, they'll do a GoFundMe, get a person millions of dollars, and they was wrong. No,
Mm-hmm.
no, we hold each other accountable. Period. We have to, but we have to begin to turn this thing around. And I'm gonna just say one more thing, and I remember even about this same thing, and I remember, God, this was years ago when I saw this. I was at the park and I was walking. I used to walk a lot, and I was it was like a park, but it was a track, right? And it had a lot of woods around it. And I remember this man, white dude, pulled up in the truck with a little white girl, right? And then, he took on the swings and he was just playing with her. And I'm like, it's kind of weird because a lot of men don't take their kids to parks without the female, right? It just don't happen. And maybe I'm, back, not that I know of. Okay, I'm just gonna say it like that. And I really was paying attention to him, right? Just, it was just such a strange thing to see. I'm like, okay, he's, maybe a little boy, yes, but a little girl, that's kind of weird. So I'm walking around this park and I see him going to the woods, right? So I'm like, okay, where's he at? I'm watching, I'm walking, but I'm watching. And I'm looking at him. He's in the woods, but he's calling the little girl to the woods, right? And I'm like, this is so weird. I'm still, kind of walking. And I'm like, God, do I call the police or, do I, what do I do about this? This was so weird to see. You really just didn't know what to do because I didn't want to say anything. And that's not what he was trying to do. So I really didn't say anything, but I think about that all the time. How I failed that little girl. And I know shouldn't have mattered, but for me to see that and not say nothing, I think about that all the time. I wonder how her life turned out because somebody
Mhm.
saw something and didn't say anything.
Right.
Well, I mean, I feel you, like, because like I said, like the person I was talking to, we might have been like 15. I still could have did something, I still could have said something to somebody. But even if I did, it was too many people who was quote unquote adults that would be like, "Oh, it's not your business. You don't want to. Don't worry about that. That's their business, and you don't know whatever." But
Yeah. And that's
you
probably what they
know,
would have said. Yep, that's
mhm,
probably what they would have said. But I was older and I was out there walking the track. I could have said something,
yeah,
and I feel horrible about that. Even today, I think about that I could have saved that baby's life. I don't know where she is today because I'm sure she's an adult now, but she, I'll never forget that. I mean, I'll never forget it. Just, being there and, to see something, you have to say something no matter what, even in a store if you see something dysfunctional, just say something, you know?
yeah.
Right.
And this is the thing, right? Because you gotta realize, right? Even when we dealing with each other and people, like everybody got their triggers. I know this brother who was saying like, "Yo, my dad was bipolar and he would snap on us." So now somebody raising their voice to him, it triggers him like what happened to his dad, And sometimes it might make him get violent or some. Not saying that it's right for him to get violent, but even when we
Yeah.
interact in our relationships, like somebody could have had an issue. Like it
Yeah.
might sound funny, but it's like sometimes like a person will do something and you'll know every time they're about to do something they're not supposed to do. Like they'll wear something, they'll light a candle or just do
Yeah.
something weird. And so now like as an adult, if you do something for an example, like you light a candle, you could trigger this person, and you don't know why this person is reacting the way they are,
Yeah.
or saying
Yes.
what they say, or rejecting you, or whatever. So
Yes.
don't take certain stuff personal, but everything we take personally, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm coming from my own trauma where
Yes.
you were like, oh, feeling rejected, and my mom didn't, it was a brother that used to come on here. He'd be like, yo, F my sister, F my mom. And I can only imagine
Yeah.
what they did to him, and it made me realize like a lot of brothers that be talking that negative stuff about black women, they
Yeah.
had some kind of
That's
crazy
my mama.
experience, Antoine
Yes.
Fisher experience,
Yeah.
probably,
That's a mama issue. Yeah. That's a mama
right,
issue. Yeah.
Mhm.
And a
because
lot
that,
of black men have mother issues, and a lot
right.
of black women have fat daddy issues. A lot.
Hmm.
So I always look at people, and when they're acting, whatever, I'm always giving them the benefit of the doubt. Yes, I understand. I never try to go there with them because you have to, you don't know why they acting the way they are. You just back up and you just shut up or walk the other way. Because I got a lady at work now I work with. That woman is mean, mad every day. Black lady. When I say every day, it's every day. And some days she's mad in the beginning, and then she'll come and try to be nice, and I'll be like, "That's bipolarism. I swear it is." I don't be bothered with her. I don't say anything to her because I don't know what she's gone through. I don't even try to get to know what she's gone through. I don't even want that person around me, seriously, because she is. There's a demon there somewhere. I don't care. I believe people have demons. I'm serious, and I believe that there's something going on with her. Because she's a different type of person, and I stay away from her. And that's what we have to do. We don't have to always go there with a person. We don't always have to get in the trenches with them. Back up, let them have that, and go the other way.
Yeah. And I'll play this real quick just so we can wrap it up. This
Men
clip.
don't talk about, black men especially, is abuse in the home, right? You know, growing up, I was abused unknowingly. And not, mom, I love you. I'm not putting that on you. That's just the way it was. Like, you ain't shit. You ain't this, do this that way. You do this that way. Da, 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 da. And you don't realize it. You're just in it. So you're accustomed to that. So when you get into an interpersonal relationship as an adult, you seem to take that, which, as now doing work on myself and understand what's appropriate and what's not, what men don't talk about.
Right. And that's another thing, and even in quote unquote good homes, you hear like, oh, you can't be this. Like, I remember MG2 came on here. He was like, his parents encouraged him that he could be anything he wanted to be. And I noticed for me, it was a difference. Sometimes my parents would be like, and I get it, they judging off their own limitations. They
Mhm.
can't do something. So, but they sit there and be like, oh, I may be under the thing of, I don't want you to get hurt. But they be like,
Right.
you can't do something. But when you keep telling me I can't be this, I can't do this, I'm not good enough to do this,
That's just right. Yeah. Yeah.
and we teach our children to walk with your put head down. You cross the street when some white people will come over. You know what I'm saying? You better not say nothing. But we also teach our children like, oh well, you could have never come up with a math equation that it solves world hunger or something. And
Hmm.
just because you think you can't do it, and we limit
Hmm.
ourselves so much in our children.
Wow.
But
You know what?
uh,
And I don't think we even realize that we do. I don't even think we really realize that we do that with our children. Just like that's
Mhm.
just like tell them, hey, don't speak to strangers, stranger danger, and then a stranger come up and say, hey, little girl, you go tell them hi, say hi. See what I'm saying? Those are mixed
mhm.
messages. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't really think that we really get it when we are kind of like those double standards with our baby, because we are so dysfunctional as a culture, um, that we display a lot of dysfunction, and we see it now as normal behavior, you know, because we've been so traumatized in this country for so long. A lot of trauma that we do and we go through is abuse, and we don't even know it, and we're abusing our children, and
Because
we
they
and I,
normalized it.
yes, yes, it's been normalized, so we don't even know that it's abuse. And then when somebody bring it up, you go, "Oh, girl, ain't nothing wrong with that. It's okay." And it really is something wrong with it. But somebody that has never gone through that, but has gone through something else will call you out on it. You get mad instead of listening and say, well, maybe it is. Maybe I need to check that. And that's what I think we need to do as Black people. We have to start checking, checking the temperature and making sure that, when a Black man walking past, we're not grabbing our purses. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't be doing that. I grab my purse with a white guy come around now. I'm just saying, okay? Because I already know they shooting up, they got some, they did some school shootings. So I'm more cautious when they're in a room than I am with my own. But I
Hey, cause
remember back in the day, huh?
no, I used to say when I first came on here, right? I was like, yo, it's crazy if you imagine walking down the street and then imagine like two black dudes in white tees walking towards you up the street, right? God forbid they have dreads or something. You gonna be scared, you be like, oh, are they gonna rob me? Is they gonna do something? But then you see two white boys in like a polo
I'm
shirt or
looking at
something
the
walking
white boys
toward
for real.
you. Thank
I'm
you.
looking at the white boys.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the white boys. I'm not looking at the
For real.
brothers with the locks, not dreads, forecast locks. Okay. I'm looking at the white boys because
Locks.
I know their history. Okay. I'm not, hey, I may walk past the brothers. Hey, brothers, hey, y'all, what's going on? I'll speak to them. I don't have a problem with that because you see that all the time. But then white boys, oh, I'm looking. I'm gonna have my hand on something. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Mm-hmm.
watching. If they walking behind me, or they getting too close. Because I ride a 3-wheeler, and sometimes white guys come. Hey, stand over there. You ain't got to come up here. Oh, I'm just wanting to check your bike out. You can see it from over there. I don't let them walk up on me. Mm-mm, I don't, because I don't trust them. Mm-mm. So yeah, I have to, I'm switching up a lot. I mean, my thoughts are more about being more aware of them than my own.
Yeah,
So,
facts.
and that's on purpose. And this is on purpose because we've been trained and don't even know it. Watching TV, listening to that music, it's there, it's in there. So I hear people saying stuff like, I don't know why Black people act the way they act. Look at them acting. Look at them shooting them, killing up each other. Well, you know what? Everybody kill their own. That's my response when I hear that, because it bothers me when I hear Black people saying it's about Black folk. Well, how do we get there? We didn't do this to ourselves. Just like you hear Trump now, he's going to Chicago and he's going. Okay, well, are we giving them jobs, or you just don't send the National Guard to fix the problem that you created in the first place? You understand what I'm saying? So I've learned to think a different way, and I'm putting the blame where it belongs, and it's on them. Black folk didn't get here by themselves. We had help.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's
consider.
get down deep and understand. Puffy didn't get where he is by himself. Somebody trained him. Why we didn't go get the man that trained him? You understand what I'm saying? R. Kelly is not the way he is because of where is the man that trained him? And that's what we're not doing. We're not going deeper.
Yeah, and
So yeah.
consider. Um, well, I forgot what I was gonna say. You want to say something, Heidi?
Heidi, you quiet over there. I hope I'm not talking too much.
No,
We go too
you're
far
good. I'm
sometimes.
listening. No, hey, and I'm all with it. I'm listening just like everyone else,
Yeah.
taking it
So
in per se.
yeah, and yeah, just so yeah, that was just definitely interesting. Just to wrap it up on some not so negative stuff. Let me
Okay.
just play this.
Pray, bitch. Okay? While the doctors is gonna be praying on your ass and praying on your children and praying on your community, you keep on praying while they are PREYing on your ass.
Amen.
All right, come
They
on
have
now.
no tools, no weapons, but they talking about no weapon formed against me shall prosper. It won't work. Bitch, they all have worked, ho. Every weapon they formed against your stupid ass has fucking prospered. White supremacy has prospered. Bad school systems have prospered. Fucked up politicians have prospered and got over you every year after year after year. Your job has prospered. The people around you keep fucking you up in the head have prospered. Everything that has come against you has prospered. So shut the fuck up. God will do when he said he will do. He will stand by his word. He will learn. They the most stupidest sounding people. Just saying shit. God damn. You know now.
All right.
Forecast. Come on.
That was funny.
That was real funny because you know what? And I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go there right now. I'm gonna go there just because you know what? We tell people all the time, y'all get your water together. Make sure you got your extra food. Make sure you got some,
Mm-hmm.
extra cash in the house. Now we've been telling you this for the last 5 years, 10 years, right? What black folk in church folk tell you? God got me, honey. I said that you know
Mm-hmm.
what? Joseph in the Bible, if he hadn't did what God told him to do, because God told him 7 years of famine, seven years of famine, and 7 years of prosperity. During the prosperity years, you're gonna store up, right? He
Right.
would have died. He would have died. If he would have said, God, I know you got me, I'm not even gonna do nothing, he would have died. So when
But see
people say
that
stuff like that, go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say that goes back to saying like, oh yeah, God's gonna do this and God, but what are you doing?
Yes, yes.
Because you have to
Faith,
put your part in order for
yes,
God to do his. So
yes.
what are you doing?
Faith, yeah. Faith without works is dead. You can't just sit there. You
Mm-hmm.
got to do something. I often look
Mm-hmm.
at that when I hear people say that, just like what's coming up. Hey, do y'all have your candles and are you ready for what's coming? They talk about, oh, we're gonna have 3 days of darkness. Okay, you got your candles ready? You got your what do you go how you preparing for that? You got your generator, you got your battery, you got your charger, you got, this solar charger that they got. How are you prepared for that? Girl, God got me, honey. I hate that. Boy, I'd be ready to go the hell off. What do you mean he got you? We telling you now what's coming, and you sitting up there not even prepared. You don't even have a can of beans in your cabinet. You don't even have water bottles. You have nothing. But you talking about God got you. When? How? How you gonna get how? Because you're definitely not coming over here to get mine. I'm just saying. Because everybody come to my front door, done. I'm gonna have a sign. Keep away from my front door. Because you're not coming up in here. Seriously. Come up in here, you done. I'm just saying. We have to start doing what we need to do. We have to start preparing. Instead of, yeah, so you can sing a church song. You can say, yeah, just like she was saying, it won't work. Yeah, but you have to start doing too.
Yeah. They all
Because
have
you've been
worked.
warned. You've been warned. They've all worked. Every last one. And they
The,
still working.
the sick part is we made them work, but that's a whole nother topic. So
Oh man, forecast. I don't know if we ready for that one. Man, I don't know if we ready for that one. How did we make it work? That's what people say. How? They talk about the guns, they talk about Chicago, they talk about all that. Okay, how did it get like that? How did we
we
make it
s-
work?
how do we make it work? And we'd be like, we sick, boss. That's how we make it work.
We ain't ready for that one.
Um, we'd be like, oh, it ain't no such thing as lesser or two evils. One of the I ain't gonna
Please.
go there. I ain't gonna go there. Hottie, so what you before I get Hottie in trouble? You have any words to wrap up tonight? Like everything that you think about, everything we're talking about tonight.
Wait, you said get me in trouble?
Yeah, as a part they get mad because a lot of stuff that we say, especially for some reason, they like to come at Cassidra, but you
I
know
don't care.
they
Y'all
get mad because we call out their let's just say their selloutness, you know. I'm not hard
Oh,
on the coons, but they are, but they don't recognize their own cooning tendencies. So they don't like when we hold the mirror. All we do is hold the mirror up, is what we do.
exactly.
And then they get on here and be like, oh, how dare you, hold this mirror up and show me who I am. So I
I
try
mean,
to keep it PG.
I grew up in the church, right? And
So Heidi. So girl.
yeah, like I'm the pastor's daughter. Hello? Like, you know how many
Oh
eyes are on us? Like, so I think that's one of the reasons I stirred away at a young age. because we're like all these eyes are on you and they judging you and they this and that, but they don't know what you're going through. But I did learn, you know, I'm a very blessed individual. That's why I go by Bendy. But I learned that a lot of stuff that I've been blessed with, it wasn't just because God just handed it to me. You know, I had to put money, I had to do stuff myself. That goes down to, you know, this DV situation. I used to pray for ways out. And I think I touched on it last week. I used to pray for ways out and I used to get windows. But at that time, I had to understand that that window wasn't for me because I was going to be provided a door for when it was time to go. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely. And Heidi, I just want you to know that most likely the brothers that come on here and got a problem with Cassidra is a white girl somewhere in the family or in their bed or something. It's somewhere. I'm telling you.
It's their bedroom witch.
So they got a problem. They got a problem with Cassidra because. But that's
I
why.
mean, and to each their own, you know, like at the end of the day, they could feel however they want to feel. They probably on some, what's that one movie called? With the white girl and the black man.
Oh, Get Out.
Get Out, yeah. They probably on some type of shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hypnotized and don't even know it. Then they get on here and they want to be mad.
Yeah, because we the anti-hypnotists, you know, we bring them back into their right mind. Like, what you doing with that white girl, brother? You know, and then they be like, "Oh, Cassidra, look at Cassidra," and then she doing more than they ever done in their life. That'd be the crazy part. Every brother that said something to her ain't did a fraction of the stuff she did.
Don't let you think about them people.
Yeah.
Don't
But
nobody be
Cassidra,
thinking about.
you want to say something to wrap up everything tonight? You see, they be quiet. Shouts out to Raw in the building, but everybody else be quiet. So, you want to say something to wrap up everything?
Appreciate Heidi for coming on here. I do. I know, you know, putting our stuff out there, being raw. I appreciate that because I know it's not easy. I appreciate you though
Of
for coming
course.
on. You know, and hopefully this won't be the last time forecast, huh? Hopefully this won't be the forecast the last time you come on. You know, the more the
Oh no, I
merrier.
come on whenever you guys want me to.
Absolutely, I love it. I love it.
I've been contemplating my book, so I'm going to see
Yeah.
how we start.
Yes, you have to start writing a book. Yes, you have
And
to.
I think I'm gonna look into I don't know how I'm gonna start, but I have been praying about, you know, we talked about a while ago, like going out and doing like seminars or going out to high schools and talking to girls and stuff. So
If they let you, they may not let you because I tried to bring the men in the high schools for the young men, and they wouldn't let me because it's something positive and it's something that's going to work. But you can go to the school board and talk to the school board and some of the principals that might let you in there, maybe. But if it's something positive, they probably won't let you in.
yeah, I believe it. But there's even like women's seminars and stuff. So we'll see.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Do it. Do it. Any way I can help, let me know.
Of course.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Forecast,
Yeah.
for the opportunity. Thank you for
No,
just
yeah.
being able to, you know, just for wanting to do these shows because I think these are very important shows for our community. I think we need to put more light on just, you know, things that are happening in our community, you know, for healing. And I think we need that healing. And once we start to do that, our eyes will become open more, woke, as in Trump saying woke. But when they take our words, you know, they mean it for something negative. But woke is just what it says, woke. Okay, you're waking, you're being aware, you're being aware of your surroundings, you're being aware of situations, you're being aware. And there's nothing wrong with being woke. And a lot of Black people are not ready to be woke
Right.
yet.
They're
Yeah,
still in
well,
a daydream.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, well, you know, those white people are so stupid, right? Well, it's the opposite of woke. They're against woke, so they down with being asleep. Well, it's pretty stupid. So
That's just the
that's
stupidest
how
thing.
dumb
Because
they
in
are.
general, woke, you're woke. Oh, now but you have to understand the history. every time we come up with something that's positive, they always look at it as to be something negative. Just like you said, hey, let's not be so negative about slavery. Well, what the hell are you talking about? It was negative. It was the war. Honestly, you telling the Jews not to talk about the Holocaust. I don't see you changing the Holocaust for something that didn't even happen in America. I don't see you going to the Jewish museums and changing that. And I think we need to put some more attention on him, too, because that dude is done. He's done.
Yeah,
He's done.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, we definitely gonna do that. I appreciate you for coming on here, Heidi. I appreciate
Of course.
you telling, everything. I know it's hard to come on here to do that. A lot of people don't have the courage to do that. And shouts out to Cassidra. I appreciate you for coming on here. They be scared to death of you, Cassidra. So, and
I
they
don't
not
know
gonna try
why.
it.
I don't bite hard. I'm
I
gonna
want
bite
them
you,
to
but
say
I ain't
something
gonna.
to me.
They ain't gonna say nothing.
They're not gonna say nothing because it would just
Not,
spark World War III.
Yeah.
they ain't not gonna say nothing to a man. Okay, they'll say something to a woman, but not to a man.
See, and
Yeah.
that's my problem. I'm the right one. And that's why I feel like it's easy for me to come on here and talk because I'm that one that will stand up for everybody when everybody feels like they can't say
Yeah.
something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna
Exactly.
take it there. I'm gonna take it all the way up and through there. Like I've taken the state of Florida all the way up and through there for 3 years, and I got what I wanted. So I'm the right one.
Yes. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and y'all support Realm in the Bush organization and everything that she doing. She creating jobs, opportunities for people, and doing stuff that she really shouldn't have to do, but she does. So y'all support her and her business. And I'll just say this to wrap it up. We talk about this because at the end of the day, we are all we got, right?
Yeah.
To have a strong nation, you starts with first having a strong family. Once you start have a strong household, you can have a strong neighborhood. You have a strong neighborhood, a strong community, and then you have a strong city, then a strong state, then a strong nation. Then once you have an army to protect you, then you ready to go. And the reason why they take everything that we do is because they have no originality, and we are the creators. Once we start owning ourselves and creating for ourselves and having that sense of boundaries to understand we have enough love that I'm gonna take care of myself first because I can't help a pearl person if I'm one of them, and I ain't gonna help somebody who's gonna hurt me when I lift them up, just like every other community has ever done to you. So at the end of the day, we are all we got. And as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're gonna keep falling for anything.
Peace, family.